Here are the guided notes for chapter 1. So for chapter 1, our title is Types of Variables. There are 3 vocabulary words that we're going to start off with. That is data, variable, and statistic. So we see here that for data, this is values along with their context. Again, this is going to be a very important idea in stats, that no matter what type of problems we're doing, we always want to include the context. Or maybe you might hear you might hear me telling you to be specific in your responses. The second one is variable. It is a variable is a characteristic of an individual or object. A statistic, it is a numerical summary of data. In chapter 1, you also learn about the 5 W's and the how. So the 5 W's is the who, what, when, why, and where, and the how, right? So for the who are the individual cases for which we collect data? That could be people that we're collecting data from. Those are called the respondents or subjects, the participants, and experimental units could be things like animals, objects. For what variables were recorded about each individual? So for variables, it's our vocab word up here is a characteristic. When was the data collected? Why was the data collected? And determine if a variable is categorical or quantitative. We're going to discuss these two down here. Where was the data collected? So maybe they say a date, like in the data was collected in 2020 or last school year. Actually, that's for the where. Where was the data collected? For the when, that would be a date. And for the where, what location? Where was the data collected? And how was the data collected? A categorical, it's in its title. It has to do with categories. So this is a variable that names categories, such as hair color, race, eye color, gender, age range. And in statistics, we work with when we're working with categorical variables, we talk about proportions. Then we have quantitative variables. Quantitative variables have to do with how much, an amount. So it is a measured variable that has units, that answers questions about quantity, how much. And operations make sense, such as, can you find the average? So you're able to find the average of, say, the average height, the average weight, the average grade point average, maybe money. Okay, so we use means when we talk about quantitative. In categorical, we cannot find averages. Down here we have an example. So here you could pause the video and try this example based on the notes from above. Once you have tried the problem, you'll see here that 17, 21, 44, and 76 are not considered data since there is no context. That has to do with the definition from above. We can't just list numbers. They have to have some sort of meaning. Number 2, a consumer report reports article on energy bars, gave the brand name. So we have the brand name, flavor, price, number of calories, number of the amount of grams of protein, and grams of fat. So the who is the energy bars. The what, here are the brand names, flavor, price, number of calories, protein, and fat. They don't tell us when this report was released. Where, they don't tell us where this happened, so it's not specified. And the how, they don't tell us how these bars were produced. The why, maybe possibly we want to provide information to consumers that consume energy bars. This one is important here. There are some categorical variables, such as the brand name of the energy bar. That's a category. The flavor is a category. And then you have a quantitative variable that have to do with an amount, such as price, number of calories, protein, grams, and the amount of fat in grams. Notice that in green we have the units, just like we mentioned over here. And also we have discrete and continuous when we talk about quantitative variables. So for discrete, these are types of numbers that are things that are countable, that you're able to count. A variable you can count, such as 1, 2, 3, 4 people. Okay. There are also continuous variables, such as a variable that can take on any value between its max and min. So for example, weight, the weight in pounds, you could always find a value more specific. So you could include decimals, as well as in height. In your height, depending on the tool or instrument that you're using to measure, you could be more specific on when describing the height, maybe liquids, speed, things like that. Here is another example. Try this out on your own. Okay, once you've tried it, here you will see your responses. So check this with your answers.